Hello, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you guys because I know, look, at the end of the day, I would be here anyways. Like, I know that about myself. I know that that's true about myself. I would be here anyways. I'd be sharing or whatever, but it is so much fun when I'm sharing with you guys and when we're interacting together, especially when it's a Facebook Live. And it's been a while. Well, it's been a minute since I did a Facebook Live, isn't it? I think it was late last year, or yeah, it must have been late last year that was my last live. So it's really nice to be here with you guys on Facebook. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl is here as well. Ariel is here. Thank you so much. And yeah, that was the last live I did on Facebook. I do a monthly live for superstars that we do together. Oh, thank you so much, Paula. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. So I want to just show you guys something because I did promise, one of the superstars did ask me, what is this picture in the back? So that's what that picture is in the back. I put it on, hi Mark, yay. I had put that on my Instagram, but I know in the videos you don't always see it. You just see like the little bit of bottom there. And that's what that picture is. That many, many years ago, my parents gave me that for my birthday, and I love that picture. So, hi Teresa, Reina is here. I feel everyone will gain weight. Well, then the norm will change, won't it? Taurus, because of that Taurus energy and food and things like that. Is that why you think that? Hi, Abby is here. Teresa is here. So Uranus just moved into your 5th house. So your fertility may surprise you. That's one way that energy can manifest for sure. Cheryl, thank you so much. I'm very grateful that you're here. Charlene is here. Charlene has been a friend and fan for many years. Thank you for being here, Charlene. Lee is here as well. Hi, Lee. Hello. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me for this party, however long or brief it may be, and however the hot lights, you know, we just started getting hot here in Canada. Hi, Gia is here as well. I just got back to Canada, and I'm just here for a few days. And Teresa's like, no, I'm done. Okay. I'm just here for a few days and then I'm headed to Chicago. And I'm very, very excited about being in Chicago very soon at the UAC conference. It's called Celebrating Earth and Sky. Marianne is here from California. Well, she said CA, so either that's Canada or California. And Uranus moving into your 6th house. That's exciting. Hi, everybody. I'm going to try to say hi where I can and where I see it. But yeah, it's just started getting hot. Like, I think today was the first hot day in Canada for the winter season. So this is around the time when the winter season starts coming to an end, and spring. This is when the Toronto area enters spring. Now, oppose that or juxtapose that. It's been a while since I said that word or needed to say that word. To Cancun, to the weather in Cancun, which is always like sunny and breezy, and the AC is always going as well. So here, the AC isn't on yet, but it is kind of warm. So thank you, Sunny, for being here. Thank you all. So yes, Uranus has moved into the sign of Taurus, and I wanted to share a little bit. Hi, Kuljit is here. You know what's funny with Kuljit is actually, I was on an airplane and I tweeted or something about how I was at the airport, and she saw that and she was like, hey, are you here? I'm on this flight. And so that was a very synchronistic moment where I got to meet and just share love for a moment. That was really nice. Gia is in Florida. Yes, Kamla, it's a Uranus party that we're having here. I'm going to try to think of a couple of things to say. I know I talked at length in the Uranus special that I did for everybody. Thank you so much, Sunny. Sending love to you too. Yeah, I know I talked quite a bit. There were a couple of things that kind of came to mind, and as we're talking, maybe they'll come up again. But I'm really excited about being here, I must say, to do a live with you guys once again after so many months. Hi, Anna. Hola, amiga. You might hear a little bit of Spanish. Robin is here from Vancouver. Hi. I don't know if you came to my events. I had events back in October in Vancouver and hoping to be in Vancouver again. So I have to just finalize that, but I'll be in Vancouver again. And I love Vancouver, one of my favorite cities in the world. Taurus ascendant. Lori has a Taurus ascendant. So lots is going to change. If you've got North Node in Taurus and Uranus is going to move over your North Node, it really is like this karmic path opening up. I'm very big on the nodes, and actually I'm working on that right now. If you're my patron, you know right now a lot of energy, or trying to get a lot of energy into my next book, and I'll talk more about that in the weekly video scope that I'll be doing like this coming weekend. But yeah, if you have a sun or moon or ascendant in Taurus, having Uranus move into your sign, your sun sign, your rising sign, or your moon sign, it says something about a fundamental core part of you going through a profound change and a profound shift at that. It is as if when it's your sun and Uranus moves into your sun sign, it's having to do with your identity. Hi, Erin. Hi, everybody. It has to do with your identity and you understanding ultimately what it means to be you and to be confident and to be in your truth. That is what the sun represents. When it's your moon, I mean, that really is a complete turnaround where it comes to your understanding of what you need to be at peace with yourself and what you need to feel comfortable in the world and with yourself. What does it mean to truly feel like you are at home in the world? Well, that changes when Uranus moves into your moon sign. And if it moves over your rising sign, well, that tends to be the appearance, and it changes what it is that matters to you most and what it is that matters to you first. Of course, Nadia is here. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Diane. Nadia is saying Sun, North Node, and Mercury, all of those are in the sign of Taurus. That's a lot of very earthy energy, sensual energy. But having the North Node there, when Uranus moves over the North Node, I think the North Node is about, it is a karmic pathway for your soul. And, you know, I talked quite a bit about this in the class that I recently did on the nodes, and I've done a lot of videos as well. I'm very passionate about the nodes, right? I don't want to play favorites with the sky, but I'm very passionate about the nodes, and because I really believe that it is through the moon, through this understanding of home and comfort and equilibrium, that we are able to really align with some higher, more loving vision and really honor what it is that the soul desired to do with this lifetime, beyond just our personality or beyond our like ego desires or whatever. What is it that the soul wanted to do, was called to do in this lifetime? How well is it that you are aligning with that? So it's all good, right? Everything is good in the sky. It really is all about how you use it. And you know, I talk about, and I did my dissertation on Ibn Arabi, and you can download that, or you can read that on my website. It's called The Unity of Being. It's under articles on my website. And, you know, Ibn Arabi believed that the chart is perfect, that the chart is exactly what it needs to be in order for you to do all the things that you were created to do and fulfill your potential over the course of this lifetime. Even the stuff that you hate, even that, you know, Mars square in your chart that you wish wasn't there, the aspects that really like just make you feel like, oh, why do I have to have this? I'll talk about Biggie in a moment. Thank you, Deshaun. Hi, Deshaun. But even that, right, in some way is part of facilitating you becoming all it is that you can be and could be in this lifetime, and, you know, being well used for all that you are and really fulfilling your potential or manifesting your fullest self, as it said. So Deshaun is here. Hi, Deshaun. Deshaun has been a friend and fan for a long time, for years, and has given a lot of love. Thank you so much. And he's asking about Biggie. So I haven't talked about Biggie that much in, you know, in the weeklies and things like that. But, you know, if you have taken a class with me recently, the Synchronicity University classes I did, Biggie made an appearance. Biggie is making a lot of appearances on Instagram. And now I'm experimenting with giving him his own Instagram because I don't want people to get like, oh my God, what is going on with this woman? It's all about Biggie. Biggie is my dog, my little puppy. He's not here right now because I'm in Canada, but he's being very well taken care of. And he has just, I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like, I knew that this little guy came into my life to teach me about love, but the level of heart expansion that I have had because of this little guy entering my life is, it's so meaningful and it's so humbling to me, really. I mean, it just changes the way that, or has changed the way that I look at myself and my life and my priorities and what matters. And, I've always been a very city girl, and now I'm like, hey, I want Biggie to have grass to play on. I want him to feel happy and comfortable and at peace. And yeah, animals, they change us very deeply. And I feel changed. And I hope, like, even though I won't explicitly necessarily talk about it in like the weekly video scopes I do or whatever, I just hope it shows more and more as time goes on, that shift. But he has, I knew right away, like when he first came into my life, I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? I wanted a Chihuahua. And here comes this, small puppy, an American bully. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And it was that first night, I mean, really, like, at first I just kind of took it. I took some pictures like, oh, isn't this novel? This little dog is here. But I didn't know what I felt. And then I remember like going to sleep and then hearing him crying. And then I went out to look at what was happening. And he's just in the middle of the living room and just kind of looking at the wall and crying. And my heart just went out to him. And that was it. I picked him up and that was it. I was his mom. That's it. So that's Biggie is doing very, very well. Biggie's very happy and very well taken care of, and I know that he'll continue to grow and thrive. So Dorothy is saying, can you tell me about Scorpio with Uranus in 9th house Libra? Okay, so I'm feeling a little about Scorpio with Uranus, 9th house Libra. What does the 9th house represent? Well, the 9th house, now, I want to say there are different types of charts, okay? So there's the natal chart, which is like a very big deal. Once we start learning astrology, we tend to learn from, and once you really want to dive into birth charts, then that tends to be what's called the natal chart. And so the natal chart has its ascendant, and there'll be different methods of house calculations and systems of astrology, which will place different emphasis on different parts of the chart. But ultimately, the birth chart is the sky around you at the moment of your first breath. And then there's like the solar chart, which ultimately puts the sun in your first house. And that's a lot of what like sun sign astrology is based on. But there's also lunar charts as well. And wherever your moon is and you go forward from there, you'll have the moon in the first house. And then how is it that Uranus is going to speak to your moon, your sun, and your rising? Once you go beyond just your sun sign, you start wanting to understand these things in more layers. Now, 9th house, if you've got the moon or the sun in the sign of Virgo, or if you've got a rising sign in Virgo, like roughly, all else being equal. Of course, if you're using a different house calculation method, it might be in the 8th, it might be in the 10th. But if you are a Virgo rising sun or moon, chances are your 9th house or 9th house matters are going to be especially important to you. So you may want to watch I know I did a preview and it's on my Facebook page. It's on also my Instagram account as well. So you can watch the first minute of the complete video I did. And the complete video is available on my website, nadiyashah.com. And I'll tell you, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. This is this series of Uranus specials are the most selling videos that I've ever done, most selling series, most viewed series that I've ever done. And it just humbles me, and it means so much to me to have your trust and to have your love and your support and to just feel so trusted. It has it has been so deeply meaningful to me. So thank you so much. But yes, you can watch the previews, and that gives you an insight as well. Ninth house has to do with a few different things, right? One of the more immediate things is like long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters. But there's a lot of other stuff as well that I cover in the Virgo video. Like every single Uranus special, I think the shortest one is like 15 minutes and the longest one is like 24 minutes. So, I mean, really, it depended. You know, if I started talking about all kinds of other stuff, ultimately to illustrate, then I ended up going over 20 minutes. But if it was that I was, you know, being a little bit more exact, then I, you know, stayed around the 15-minute mark. But you'll get really thorough. It does get really thorough, and look at all the things that house represents for you and what it is ultimately, how it is that Uranus is going to speak to you. And I think that Uranus is, you know, it's the big dog, right? It's a really big placement in the sky, and it's a really important placement in the sky as well. It represents so many things. You know, as I talk about in the introduction that you see on YouTube, I talk about how the discovery of Uranus changed everything that it meant to be a human being. It was a shift in our understanding of our place in the universe and what the universe meant and what the world meant. This was a time when we got in touch with our power. I mean, you know, I was, as part of inspiration leading up to, you know, this change and even the videos I was doing, and actually going to Europe, big part of it as well. I went to Bath, the city where Uranus was discovered. I go there every few years. It's a very special place. But I also went to the home of Marie Antoinette. And I really wanted to go there, go to France, go to Versailles, go to the home of Marie Antoinette, because the discovery of Uranus and the French Revolution are so intimately connected, because up until then in human history, right? Up until then, your king and your queen were physical representations of God. Like the thought of overthrowing the king, the thought of, you know, bringing them out and using a guillotine and you know, killing your king or your queen, it just was not a part of our human understanding. It was not even an option, not even something that we would think was an option, not even in the vaguest, right? And so this discovery of Uranus coinciding with so many changes, you know, coinciding with, on the one hand, the French Revolution, and how that changed our understanding of authority. It changed our understanding of our leaders as well. The discovery of Uranus brought about this whole brand new country. It brought about the revolution in the United States. It wasn't the United States at the time, but it was a revolt against colonizers. And it was just very profound to have this whole other system of government, this whole other way of understanding the individual that we just never had before. Now, of course, we're always moving towards a greater understanding and greater, of course, we can look at how much more work there is to do, how many more ways in which Uranus has to yet manifest more fully in our lives individually and as a collective as well. But at the same time, we've come so far. And actually, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was thinking about doing a live with him. When I'm at UAC, I'm debating, I might do this, but I was debating about, you know, when I'm at UAC, I know I'll be taking a lot of pictures and little video clips and stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to do an official vlog per se, but I know I'll be sharing a whole lot about what's happening at UAC on my Instagram and on Facebook as well. But I have a friend, and he was just saying to me the other day that this idea of how human growth is exponential, and how it is that ultimately, even if you look at the last 50 years, how much it is that humanity has changed. What we know to be a human being has changed. And I was saying, you know, don't you think it's the discovery of Uranus that really changed things? Like, it really was, because Uranus grows things exponentially as well. But Uranus is also like, you know, stuff going viral, stuff reaching a whole lot of people. And so I was thinking, like, I think it's the discovery of Uranus that's also a big part of this exponential growth. In the late 1700s, that brought about the Industrial Revolution, which was part of what the discovery of Uranus brought about, and so many other things. And now here we are. And so we have now Uranus moving into the sign, or having moved into the sign of Taurus. Now we'll get a little taste of it in the middle of this year. And in October, we'll retrograde sort of out. And then we'll come back in early next year. So yes, big changes are blowing through the universe, Gia. Absolutely. Very big changes are happening. And whenever Uranus, an outer planet, right, whether it's Uranus, whether it's Neptune, or whether it's Pluto, whenever an outer planet changes signs, it is a shift for humanity. It is a whole new phase of humanity that is starting as well. So this represents the very beginning. And, you know, I'll tell you something really interesting. Early this morning here in the suburbs of Toronto, right? Out here, the suburbs of Toronto, there was this sudden, very dramatic type of thunderstorm that really I've only ever seen in Cancun, right? In Cancun, because it's tropical weather, they have them all the time. But this just very dramatic, very quick, very heavy rain that came for a short period of time, along with all the light show and everything, and then left. And it was so profound to me. Our internet went out for a little while, not too long, but you know, I just thought it was such a powerful symbol of Uranus now at the very, very end and preparing to shift into a new part of the sky. At the same time, I know I myself, like yesterday, I was feeling restless. I was feeling very restless. I was feeling very restless. And so today I went for a walk, and I was thinking to myself, you know, this is very Taurian for me right now, to be like, okay, I'm going to connect with Earth. I'm going to connect with nature. I'm going to connect with, you know, just myself. This is so, such a Taurian thing right now. And, you know, I observed the world in a way that I don't remember observing in quite a long while, you know, like to see the bees and not be afraid of them or think something's going to happen, but to, you know, see a bee struggling and thinking, oh, does this bee need help? Is there something I can do for this bee? To see a worm struggling and think, is there something I could do? But I think that's also Biggie. I think Biggie changed my life in that way as well. It just, like I said, the heart expanding, just helping me see things so much more compassionately on so many different levels. And other things as well, you know, I've become very aware with Biggie, particularly coming into my life and expanding my heart, you know, this idea of priorities and what really matters, and not taking things personally and not getting caught up in other people's projections and letting other people have their learning and not making it about me. Because really, I have really come to understand, this is one of the best things about getting older. I asked recently on one of my social media accounts, you know, what's the best thing about getting older? And for me personally, like everybody has their own take on it, but for me personally, it's just really about realizing what's yours and what isn't. And it's just really about focusing on the things that matter and realizing what doesn't. And you know, I really think that we can be very self-conscious, and at the end of the day, people are not thinking about us. They're really not. They're thinking about themselves and their lives and their own self-consciousness or whatever. And it has nothing really to do with us. Even when it looks like, as part of the illusion, it looks like it has something to do with us, it doesn't. Like, that's the thing. So I've really come to understand this more in the last weeks of taking care of Biggie, because it's just that he's so present, you know, it's just really about enjoying. And one of the most amazing moments I saw with him, hi Greg from Australia. So somebody asked, what do we need to do? Amy asked that. About what? About Uranus? Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. But I just want to say, I went to the beach with Biggie, and we can do that in Cancun, so it's wonderful, right? And I went to the beach, and to see him run with this freedom and this joy and this elation, it moved my heart deeply. It moved me so deeply, because he's not thinking or worrying or anything. He's not thinking about what somebody else is thinking about him. No, he was free. It was just liberation in that moment to see him run with all his energy and enjoy it so much. And it just really made me realize, like, for myself, what is it that makes me feel free? What is it that makes me feel liberated? And to do that more, to access more of that energy of, running on the beach. What is that for me? That's not running on the beach for me. Running on the beach for me might not be liberation. It is for Biggie, but my own version of it is somewhere. So yes, coming back to Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus, although I might get off track again, because that happens when I'm talking to you guys live and in real time. And I'm also responding as well. Anna is here. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for being here. Anna is also one of the people, lots of love and support over the years. Thank you so much. I'm feeling very, very moved right now. Of course, moved because of this recent, to see how popular and how far-reaching the Uranus specials have been. That's moved me, but also just to have this moment right now with you guys as well, and to just be present with you is really amazing as well. I would love to manifest my dreams, Gia asks. Savannah says hi. Hi, Savannah. Taurus is in my 12th house, Stephanie said. Yeah. And so that is the Geminis, right? So you must have a Gemini rising to have that as well. So lots is stirring within you. I actually think Uranus moving through the 12th house it is part of freedom, certainly. But also the thing is, it's like we don't realize what we're doing when we're doing it, but it really is designed to help us to be free. And we may behave in ways that aren't necessarily. Ruth Ann is here. Hi, Ruth Ann. Your name is hyphenated now. That's awesome. Did you get married? So again, Ruth Ann is somebody who's been a friend and fan for a very long time as well. Thank you for being here, Ruth Ann. But yes, Uranus moving through the 12th house, it's like you don't always realize what you're doing and why you're doing it, but ultimately there is some profound truth there that is trying to be revealed to you. And the thing is, you'll have these moments where all of a sudden you realize, like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I did that. And why did I do that? What was that about? And the 12th house is also psychic ability as well. So you may find, just out of nowhere, a vision shows up for you and you go, oh my God, this is the truth of what's really going on. This is the truth of who this person is. And it can be a little freaky, but it can be a little exciting too, to realize how much you actually know. So lots of people, there's somebody here from Colorado I saw. Thank you so much for being here. Really very grateful for it. So yes, some things I was just kind of meditating on and thinking about with the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is about the earth, yes. And I do see it connecting to, somebody said something really beautiful. Thank you, Mar. Thank you so much. Hi, Rashi from Boston. Aditi is here. Hi, Aditi. Thank you so much for being here. I'm seeing lots of longtime friends and fans. Thank you. Stephanie is here. But I was thinking about, I don't think that the sign of Taurus has as much to do with things like agriculture because Virgo is more about agriculture, especially like how much it's become, like there's these very strong systems of agriculture. However, it is about the earth and it is about how we interact with the earth. And so I do think that there is this connection between how it is that we understand food and how we bring technology in that for better or worse. Jennifer's here from South Africa. Hi, someone here from New York as well. Muriel is here. Oh my God, Muriel, I'm sending you very big hugs. My assistant was off for quite a few days. And so some people sent messages, but maybe they did or they didn't get replies. But Muriel, I was thinking about you earlier today, and I just want you to know that. Thank you. And everything else is confidential. It'll always be confidential, I tell you. Thank you for being here, Muriel. Muriel, very long time friend and fan, and has given a lot of love over the years. Thank you. Deshaun, Uranus going into your 8th house. Wow. So that is very much a house of the things that we consciously know we're ready to change, and the change that we work towards. And of course, that is also about equalizing our relationship with financial institutions as well. So Mars said she's nervous about earthquake. Look, here's the thing. Don't be nervous. That's first and foremost, okay? Don't be nervous. There's no value in that. There's none. And this is a big lesson for me right now too, right? I'm sure there's something in my chart that's indicating that. But there's no value in being nervous. Like, what is the value? Being present and trusting and knowing that you'll be okay and being prepared. And what I mean by that is just knowing what it is that you can do today and doing that. So, as far as like food and Taurus and the connection, I feel like Taurus is about enjoying food because it's very connected to our senses. And so, yes, I think that how technologies intersect with our food are going to be more and more important now and in the period ahead, especially with Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus. But it isn't just going to be practical. Okay, so it isn't just going to be about, solving a problem of starvation or things like that, but there's going to be other elements to it as well. Like, how can we make food more tasty? How can we use technology to grow the food differently so that it tastes different and it tastes better? And the thing is, though, with Uranus is ultimately very impersonal, right? That's the thing. Uranus is not, huggy, feely, touchy. Uranus is, okay, this is what's got to be done. This is what's going to advance. And advancement can look very different to different people, right? Can look very different depending on who you are. But I will say this, someone who, when recently, what was it? Last year, I think it was, there was an earthquake in Mexico City, and I was there at that time. And I remember, like, I was inside, and I was on the top floor of a condo, and it just started swaying. Everything just started moving, and I was like, I think something's happening. I think it's an earthquake. And so then I went to the doorway, and because that's what they say you should do. I went to like a space where I knew nothing's likely to hit me and stuff like that. And I remember, like, just putting my hands on the ground and just focusing and thinking, Mexico, I love you. Mexico, I love you. I'm sending love to Mexico. I was just putting my hands on the floor, really. I'm on the top floor of a condo, but I was hands on the floor, just envisioning sending love into the earth, sending love into the earth. Because that was the only thing I could do at that moment. That was the only power I had. So that's what I focused on. And it's pretty interesting, right? How we focus ourselves can speak to how our lives manifest. And at the same time, sometimes we don't always know what's best. Sometimes there's a higher wisdom playing out at any given time. But okay, somebody said advancement. Now here's the thing, as I said, it depends how you look at it, right? Now, of course, I always want to be fair. I always want to be balanced. I try not to put my own opinions and things into what I do, into what I share. And, I think a part of being an astrologer is, I like to say, you can't have astrology without the astrologer, right? So who you are as an astrologer is going to determine how you interpret the symbols in the sky. So if you are so inclined, like I am, I have a very strong desire to be aware of my own, the things I'm bringing into it that are more based on how I'm viewing things, not necessarily on having a healthy detachment and seeing the symbols as they are. And so, having said that, when we think about advancement, I have my ideas of what I think advancement is, right? And what I think is positive advancement as well. But I'm aware that could be different for somebody else. That could be very different for someone else. And so, in the video that I put on YouTube, I was talking about GMO, like genetically modified food, right? Genetically modified food. Some people very passionately against that. I remember living in downtown Toronto, and there were protests and things like that. People, having a show to actually expressing their discontent with that, holding rallies and things like that. So I know it's a very controversial thing. but I had to mention it, like, for depending on how you feel or where you are, what you think, that's either not a great manifestation or a really great manifestation. So, you also think about Uranus moving through Aries. There were a lot of things that I, talked about. The article is still on my website. You could read it, but I talked about how, war would become more removed, that it would become less personal, that there would be new technologies that would make war more like a video game, and things like basic training, the physical training, like, we'll be wondering, why do we even need that? Because technology is going to start to play such a huge role. And that's exactly what happened, right? Like this, I remember seeing a story about it a few years back, where they were like debating about why do people need to go through the physical training at the same level that they used to, when so much of war now, you could be in a whole other country, in a whole other part of the world, but it's literally like playing a video game now. So some people see that as a good thing, some people see that as a horrible thing, but that really is something about us, our own perceptions that we bring to it. And so in the same way, I want to acknowledge that, with Uranus, it can have things that are amazing, that we feel resonate with what we believe the change should be. And then sometimes the change isn't necessarily resonating with what we think the change should be, but it is in its own way advancement. And it is also depersonalization. It's a little bit of a removal. Sometimes it can be a healthy detachment, but sometimes not so much. Now you think about it with the planet, with the sign of Taurus. Taurus is embodied, Taurus is very earth energy, but it's a celebration of the earth. And it's very feminine. As a result, it's very feminine. It's about enjoying all that it means to be a human being and having our senses. And you think about those moments when you've really felt present in your body, right? What were you doing? Well, whatever it was that you were doing that made you feel right here present with your senses, chances are it's connected to Taurus, because that's what Taurus represents. And so where is it now that sensory experience is going to get more technical, but also more removed? And I'm just remembering right now, there was a movie, it had Sylvester Stallone. It was years ago. I think it was the 80s, this movie with Sylvester Stallone, and some woman asked him, if she wanted him to be personal with her. And her idea of being personal was putting on these virtual reality goggles, and that was their intimacy. And he put this mask on, and he really felt like he was being intimate with this woman, and it freaked him out to think like, oh my God, we don't even need to touch anymore. And I'm not saying it'll get to that level, but that option may at some point show up, because ultimately it's about the whole senses as well. Marie is asking about Bitcoin. And so what I am seeing is that it's a lot, like cryptocurrencies are going to become a very mainstream thing. There's going to be some change in our understanding of money and how it is that we exchange money, and what we understand as currency, the established currencies. What is the currency against other currencies are measured, things like that. So there is going to be some of that. And I do think that the way in which we the way in which we buy things, in terms of how we exchange energy or understand it, is going to go through a change as well. Hi, Amy. Amy is here. I interviewed Amy years ago for my channel when I was doing my show, Synchronicity Web TV. And that was way back in the day that I was doing that show, but she was one of the very first guests in the first season. So it's really nice for you to be here, Amy. Thank you. She does like tea reading. She's a world-renowned expert where it comes to tea leaf reading. So she's a good person to connect with in that regard. She knows a lot about it, the history, the practice, everything. So if that's something that appeals to you, she's a good person to look up. Lisa is here. Hi, Lisa. Thank you, Amy. I miss you too. I'm sending you big hugs. I remember Amy had reached out to me or said something about having me speak in Hamilton. And I'm sorry, I got to follow up with you about that. So we will follow up about that, and we'll create a plan, and I'll be out and speaking to Hamilton, hopefully doing something in Hamilton. That'll be a lot of fun. I do love Hamilton as well. It's very beautiful. It's on the way to Niagara Falls. And if you are in Toronto, born and raised in Toronto like I am, you have driven through Hamilton many a time on your way to Niagara Falls. So a lot of people are asking about, what does Taurus, Uranus moving into the sign of Taurus, what is it going to mean for my sign and this sign and that? So again, I want to remind you, there are preview horoscopes available here on Facebook. If you scroll down my page on my Facebook fan page, you'll see them there. On my Instagram account, they're there as well. They are included in the extended video I did on Uranus. You can watch that extended video as well on YouTube. And the last 12 minutes are those preview horoscopes as well. So I touch on what it's going to mean for you and your sign as well. Well, thank you, Anna. Like I said, this is the first hot day we've had. So I know I'm needing some AC. I'm going to ask my dad to turn on the AC. I don't know how he's going to feel about that, but he's going to have to do that. Turn on a fan or something like that. The other thing I was thinking about where it comes to Uranus moving into the sign of Taurus is that I thought about how it's connected to our values and what we value. And there's a sense of, let's see what Amy is saying here. Revolution, resolution, and recreation. Yeah, especially like the stuff that you really enjoy. Recreation, like eating, might be part of it too, right? And thank you, Anna. And I was thinking about how with Uranus moving into Taurus, every time that happens, some new fabrics are introduced as well. Some revolution in fabric, like a fabrics come out that is, more easy to wear, more manageable, more high tech than before. And our fashion choices as well go through a change where we want to be comfortable above anything else. We have a desire to be comfortable, to have fabrics that feel good on our skin is part of this as well. But I was thinking about how our values, what do we value as a society? What do we value as humanity? What do we value in our own lives as well? Well, Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus in some ways is going to bring about a revolution in what your priorities are for yourself. What is that for you? So Anna is mentioning linen. So yeah, at one time, linen was a revolution. I was like looking up something about with the Industrial Revolution came a revolution in fabrics as well, and how fashion has been a reflection of, especially the popular fashion. What are people wearing? Well, it's a reflection of the roles that they take on, like how they understand what it means to be them as well. And so you look at times where women had very elaborate, they didn't leave the house without very elaborate costumes and things like that, and steel in their clothes and stuff, right? Well, during those times, women were not really expected to be, active and out and about and things like that. You had to, you were at home, and unless you were only going to see people when you were having some sort of a function or something, and then you would be very dressed up. And that was part of your role, was to look beautiful and ornamental for your spouse and within your home, and to represent your family and things like that. Very different outfit is going to reflect those values, as opposed to okay, I got to go to the gym and I got to do this and I got to do that. Very different outfits there. But yes, I was thinking about values and how they go through a change. And if you look at your chart, or you think about your sign and you think about where Taurus is in your chart, that is an area of life that has values as a guiding principle. And how you operate within that has a set of values for you. And you know what it is, or you're given opportunities to understand what's important to you, what is going to be a priority to you in that particular area of life that Taurus falls in your chart. And so if you are a student of astrology, you think about how you can have Taurus on the cusp, right? Again, for those of you who were at the class I did with Synchronicity University, the class I did on the nodes, all the classes we did afterwards as part of the April series that just passed, I talked a lot about ruling planets and things. And so it isn't just about ruling planets, but you look at what sign is on the cusp, and wherever it is that you have Taurus on the cusp, that house is going to in some way be going through a revolution because of Uranus moving into this part of the sky. Like I know, for example, for me, and I've talked about this, sometimes it's easier to talk about than others, but the Saturn moving through Sagittarius was incredibly difficult for me. That was such a challenging 3-year cycle. Patricia is here. Patricia Bell is also somebody that I interviewed before, and we're working on some stuff together that I'm going to be announcing this coming weekend. And she really is, she's such a light. She has so much love, and she's one of those people where I just feel like it's like a spiritual connection that I have with her, and I learned so much from her. She makes me better, and yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm going to be announcing that this coming weekend. But she's amazing. I interviewed her, and you can see that interview on YouTube as well. But yes. You know, you look at where it is in the chart that Taurus is on the cusp. And for me, like Sagittarius is on the cusp of my 6th house, the house of health. And even though it was technically still in the 5th house, like to the day that Saturn moved into the sign of Sagittarius, to the day, like that week, like that was when I just feel like so much changed. Because on a health level. And I feel like when that transit was over, almost to the day, it's like I woke up and I felt like myself again. And it just was like this huge exhale, like, oh my God, I'm me again. Like that's really how it felt. Just like such a shift of energy, it happens. So Leah's asking, that's the 4th house cusp, okay? So that is the lowest point in the chart, and it represents sort of the most private area of the sky for you. And so wherever it is that you have, like let's say for example, if you're going to have Uranus move over your 4th house cusp, your IC as it's called, if you're going to have Uranus move over there, it's going to change your understanding of your foundations for yourself and in your life and in your home as well. It's going to change your understanding of the past as well. I love you, Patricia. Thank you, as are you. Christy is here, Transmuting Butterfly. Christy did a video for my channel. I have somebody new coming up tomorrow that I'm really excited for you guys to know about. But Christy did a video last month, and it was amazing. She's such a light. She's such a good astrologer. I loved having her on my channel. And so this year I'm like trying to give back in terms of sharing astrologers with you that I really like. Most of them I know personally in some way. I'm familiar with their work. The first person who sort of kicked off this whole idea was Triple Tarot Online, and I did not know her personally, but her channel, her work was just really good. Her energy was really good. And so that kicked off this year where once a month at the new moon, right around the new moon every month, I share this new person, some new person. So Christy, Transmuting Butterfly, was the last person, and she was amazing. And coming up tomorrow on Wednesday, it's Cosmic Homegirl. April, Cosmic Homegirl. She's amazing. Let me tell you, she's an incredible astrologer. She actually, along with Kajai, they read my natal chart and they made a video about it. Like they approached me and said, you know, you're one of the people who has inspired us. Can we do a video looking at your natal chart? I said, sure. But don't give away my natal chart because I'm a little private with that. And they respected that totally. And they did a video and it was so good. I watched that video like 3 or 4 times because it was so good. And it was April who actually mentioned, because she knows about asteroids, and she mentioned the asteroid Mexico being in my 4th house. So Mexico would be home for me. And I just thought that was brilliant. I had not made that connection before. So that, I think, is part of a really good astrologer, is when you make these connections you hadn't before. So I want to also share that I'm very excited about. I am offering I'm only going to do a short number of these just because of all the different things I have to do and all the different, since Saturn moved through my 6th house, moved through the sign of Sagittarius, I have come to understand differently, like where it is I can put my energies, what it is that I can reasonably do, and striving to be patient with myself even when it's hard, right? And I know, like, for example, the superstars have been really patient with the Mars retrograde horoscopes. They're almost done. And I feel like, there's just so much love and patience on their part, and I appreciate it so much. But yeah, so I am only going to do 20 of these, but I actually, as you know, you can go on to my website and you can download the Uranus special for your sign, whether it's your rising sign, your sun sign, or your moon sign. And that's a really great place to start. And if you're an astrologer, then you're going to understand something about where Uranus is moving through your chart and what that's going to mean for you. If you're a student of astrology, you're going to learn so much as well. And dive into that so much as well. However, if you are not necessarily that familiar with the symbolism, then I'm going to be doing a very limited number of personalized Uranus special videos where I look at your unique birth chart and I look at what between now and 2026, what is that going to mean for you? How is that going to speak to you in your chart? So it's just very personalized. It's just looking at Uranus, this transit of Uranus through your unique birth chart. And I just sent out a newsletter with that information because I'm only going to be doing 20 of them. I've sort of opened it up to do 20 of them, but if you're not on my newsletter yet, you should get on my newsletter. But if you're not yet, that's okay. You can use the contact form on my website, and you can email us about that. I just saw a question here. Anna, you're amazing. Thank you so much for asking. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm actually hoping to announce this coming weekly I'm going to be announcing a few different things, including something that I've been working on with Patricia, and including about my next book as well. And thank you so much, Anna. You've been so enthusiastic and so supportive. I think, Anna, also you're one of my patrons supporting the book as well. And I thank you so much for that. But I'm seeing the end in sight. Let's put it that way. I see the end in sight and I know we're going to get there. We will get to that place. Okay, so I am just sort of melting into a pool of sweat here, very excited in front of hot lights, really needing to turn on a fan or AC or something. And so I'm going to start wrapping things up here. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about what Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus is going to mean for us. I'm excited about what it means for us as a collective, but also as part of our own individual journeys as well. I think that this really is not only a revolution, it's a revolutionary energy, but it's ultimately one that in at least one area of life, and in different ways, of course, but in our own unique ways, it's going to wake us up. It's going to allow us to experience and to feel a revolution within or in our external world as well. I can tell you, Uranus for me is going to be transiting through my, while it's moving through Taurus, is going to transit through my natal 11th house. It's going to conjunct my south node. It's going to square my sun. It's going to have my Uranus opposition. It's going to conjunct my part of fortune eventually, right? All of that in my 11th house is going to be happening. And my, from a solar perspective, it's my 4th house. So it really is about changing my understanding of the ground on which I stand and the foundations, and also my understanding of like home and family and seeing it differently as well. And look, already, right? Biggie is in my life and I didn't know I could feel like this. I didn't know that home could look so different. And this is really like, because Uranus likes to do things a little different and be a little weird about it. And look, people who are not moms to dogs might not understand, but when you're a dog mom, it's like, you feel very much like a mom, I will say. Thank you so much, Anna. And then from my moon sign, Uranus is moving into my 6th house. So I'm hoping that helps to evolve a lot of the the energies of routines and my work and things, and that it improves the work. And I'll tell you, even just earlier today, I downloaded a new video editing software. So there you go. I downloaded new video editing software, and that to me is very Taurus, moving into your 6th house and changing the way that you do your routines and things like that. Demetrius is here. What a great note to end on. Demetrius is a beautiful soul, very active in the astrology community, just really well known. If you go to any astrology conferences, really, you are going to know Demetrius, and he is just a ball of love. My aunt saw his picture and she said, "Oh my God, he looks so good. His soul is so good." But you know, I hope it's not too good that you're not still one of us, Demetrius. Please stay one of us, or at least stay one of us enough to have fun. But yes, the goodness in you shines forward. The beauty in you shines forward. Yes. A lot of people will be meeting Demetrius at UAC. So I guess that's the next big thing. I'll be seeing you guys at UAC this coming up this weekend. I'll have a couple of announcements of new things that I'm doing. But really the other big thing is, of course, UAC, the UAC conference. And thank you. Thank you all for being here. The next time, well, not the next time I talk to you, which is technically the weekly horoscope, but the time after that, I'll be at the UAC conference before the month is out, and we're going to have a lot of fun together there as well. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sending you hugs, Hope. And I'm just sending you so much love at this time. And I hope that Uranus helps to make you feel lighter and freer and happier in every way. And that is my absolute wish for absolutely all of us as well. Thank you, Elle from Sydney. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, everybody, for being here late at night, depending on where you are, and depending on your sleep habits. Thank you so much. Okay, sending you all a lot of love. Thank you, Anna. It'll be a great transit. It'll be an amazing transit. Uranus moving through Taurus. We're going to have fun, and we're going to talk about this again and again. I promise you, we're going to talk about this a lot more in the weeks and months and years ahead. Can't wait to walk this journey with you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, see you later. Bye.